For more rebuttal, I reserve to my good friend from Kentucky, Andy Barr.
The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Yeah, I thank the gentleman. And let me respond to my friend from Maryland and some of the specific points that he made in rebuttal to my opposition to the previous question. The gentleman says that we don't want to talk about the underlying bills. What Republicans want to talk about is what the American people are worried about, which is rising prices. What we are focused on is opposing a previous question so that we could actually go and consider legislation that would actually help improve the record inflation, 40-year high inflation that Americans are suffering with. What we are talking about is how we're going to lower the pain at the pump and lower the cost of heating your home, which is at a 15-year high in America right now. That's what Republicans want to talk about, what the American people actually care about right now. The gentleman says that, oh, unemployment is down. Let me tell you the statistic that matters. It's the fact that we have 12 million unfilled jobs in America because Democrats' spending spree has paid Americans to not go to work, because employers in my district and in every district around the country can't find labor. The supply-demand mismatch that has produced this inflation crisis is the result of fiscal policy errors. It's the result of a war on American energy, constraining the supply of energy. It's because of excessive spending that has discouraged people to return to the labor force. So we have excess demand from overspending, and we have constrained labor supply and constrained energy supply, which is impounded into everything and results in higher retail prices. The gentleman says that, oh, don't look here, don't look at us, don't look at the Biden administration's war on energy and labor supply. No, it's not that. It's not the Fed that continued to keep interest rates too low for too long and flooded our money supply at a time when all of these fiscal policy errors were going on. No, it's not that. It's global inflation. Well, why is it then in March of 2021, at the precise time that this Congress passed the American Recovery Plan, $2 trillion of unpaid for spending, why is it then that U.S. inflation rates became untethered from global price increases? That's what happened, in synchronicity with their legislation. And Mr. Speaker, he finally blames Vladimir Putin. Gas prices on the day Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine were the highest in 40 years. Inflation was over 8% on the CPI, the highest in 40 years, the highest since 1981 on the day Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. This is not about Vladimir Putin. It is about Americans not producing energy anymore. And why do we want this particular legislation, the legislation to block the SEC's climate disclosure rule? Because we need more financing of American energy. And I would argue to my friend from Maryland also, if the obsession on the other side with the climate is, if that's the concern, if that's why we have this SEC rule, if that's why we've weaponized financial regulators to go after the American energy sector and redirect capital and financing away from the American energy sector, if that is the solution to climate change, I want the gentleman to explain that to me, because the best scientists in the world working on the issue of carbon capture and carbon sequestration and harnessing the carbon cycle, they work at American energy companies. The answer to climate change is not to centralize power in Washington and add 1,000 pages to the Federal Register. That will not change the weather. What will solve climate change is to solve that problem the American way. And the American way is through innovation, technology, and science. And that means robust free enterprise. That means more, not less, capital formation. That means more financing of American energy, more financing of innovation. That's the Republican solution to climate. And it's also the Republican solution to our energy crisis and our inflation crisis. That's what we're focused on, not these bills that the American people don't care about. We are focused on lowering prices at the grocery store and at the pump and financing American competitiveness, American innovation, and American know-how. That's what we want to do. And with that, I will yield back to the gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Reserved.